You little rotten keg tapper, no name having, looking ragged, lame rapper. You nut hugger, butt buddy fudge packer. Okay, enough of that. My real friends call me Asher. Laughter. What kind of name is that, bro, dude? It's so.
What's up, motherfuckers? Welcome to 13 Minutes. I'm your host, Paul Goon, and today we are diving into the world of EDM with Youngstown's own Scat. What's up, man?
How you guys doing?
For those who don't know, what does EDM stand for?
Electronic dance music.
How were you introduced to electronic dance music?
The Fabric Live tape from Caspa and Rusco back in the days. A good friend introduced it to me, and I couldn't stop listening to it ever since.
Caspa and Rusco. I don't know too much about EDM, but I am familiar with both of them.
Yeah.
They both go fucking hard. For the people that don't know, Caspa and Rusco are definitely like staples in the EDM community. I know they're very highly regarded names.
The Dons.
Rusco is actually the first one that I was ever introduced to. Before I ever even knew what that was, someone was like, yo, check out this cool beat. And it was Rusco. That Pro Nails.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah. Fuck yeah, dude. That's the jam.
I actually had this written for a little bit later on through the interview, but since it came up, I see that you were on the same bill as Rusco. Didn't you perform with Rusco?
No, the show ended up getting canceled. It was Rusco and Snails at Stage 80. I was supposed to open.
So you were supposed to.
I was supposed to, but
this is how big this man is getting. This is how good he is at his craft. That he was about to be on stage with one of the most legendary before the show got canceled. Don't forget that face right there. Do you have any relation to the Scatman?
No relation to the Scat Man. No boobity bops over here.
Do you know that you're the first ever electronic artist to be featured on this show?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, bro. This is like my way of learning and also teaching the people about electronic dance music. I don't know too much, and it seems like a lot of people don't. So you are the first one who gets to help people dive into that world.
Hell yeah, break the doors, baby.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Break them doors down with that bass, right?
You know it every day.
Is there a such thing as too much bass?
Yeah, for sure. It happens really, really rarely, and it doesn't happen too often. But yeah, there could be too much bass for sure.
Is it true that too much bass can make people have to shit themselves?
Yeah, absolutely.
That is true?
I can say, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, man.
First-hand witness. First-hand witness, bro.
How long have you been producing music for?
Producing actual music, I was first introduced to the software that I was using when I was probably 9 or 10 years old. I had a couple of homies that were just my friends growing up, and they wanted to be rappers, and so we were all making beats and just joking around or whatever. And when we all grew up and fell out of that, they didn't want to be rappers no more, but I still wanted to make beats. So I had a familiarity in the software that I was using, so I just kind of stuck with it. So I've been doing it since I was 9 or 10, but I didn't start actually taking it serious until I was about 17 or 18.
Oh, nice. That's pretty. And how old are you now?
24.
Okay, so you've been doing this, really doing it for a good amount of time. 7 or 8 years. That's a while to be.
Yeah, I've been getting I started putting out my own original music about 4 years ago. I released my first EP with a label called Funkadelphia out of Philly.
What's that EP called?
It is called the Good Morning EP.
Okay.
Yeah, and I released that with them. So that was my first serious released with any form of label or anything like that, and that took off fairly well. And then I ended up releasing a follow-up EP with another label in Philadelphia. They're called Aspire Higher. I released the La Cosa Nostra EP with them. So I was really, really lucky to get linked up with some awesome people in the game and see what they had to offer.
What is La Cosa Nostra?
This thing of ours, man. This thing.
What does that mean?
So the actual translation is La Cosa Nostra translates to this thing of ours, and in the old days that was the mafia, mafioso, and I just wanted to bring it back.
So that's the Italian in you coming out.
Yeah, I just wanted to show a little bit of Youngstown's history. The album art on the EP is my brothers and I standing in front of a Standby Auditorium, and there's a couple pictures of Ray Mancini in it, the Silver Bandit from Youngstown's mug.
Shout out to Boom Boom. He was supposed to be on the last season of this show.
Hell yeah.
And I still have his phone number. Boom Boom, if you ever see this interview, hit me up, man. We were, dude. Oh my God, that's Youngstown history right there. We were playing phone tag, and the phone tag ended. Every time I called him, he didn't answer. He kept calling me, I didn't answer. Boom Boom, we still want you on the show, man.
Youngstown proud, baby.
Absolutely. I know that there are all kinds of subgenres of EDM.
Absolutely.
What is your specific brand?
I would say that I spin dubstep predominantly, but I've really been leaning towards deep dubstep and the experimental bass scene, and I really like the experimental bass scene because there's nobody telling you what genres you're bound to or limited to. It's all people experimenting. Like, there's nobody, if I make a tune and I call it experimental bass music, there's nobody out there that can say that this guy isn't experimenting with bass music. So I really, really like that grasp. I really like the whole no genre, freeform bass. I really like no limits.
Dude, I like the sound of that as well. That's how I try to live my life. It's my party and I'll cry if I want to. Right, Scat?
Yeah, absolutely.
There you fucking go. What's your setup like, man? What program are you using to produce these tunes? What kind of computer do you use?
So I'm producing out of a software called Mixcraft Pro Studio 9, and I started using Mixcraft when it was in version 5 when I was about 9 or 10 years old. So a lot of guys are using Ableton, Logic, Reason, FL Studios, and I've had a little bit of familiarity with FL Studios. I'm a little bit adapt to Ableton, but I really like the program that I'm using because I feel like it's very, very hands-on, and I've been using it for so long. I feel like if I go off into something that I have to learn more, I might not be able to do what I want to do with it. And then for my computer, I'm using a Lenovo. I'm not sure the exact specs on it. I do need to get a new one. It's 8 gigabytes of RAM, 1,000 gigabyte hard drive. And then to play my music, I was using a Denon controller to play, but I recently just made the switch to CDJs. It's just so you can come up, plug a flash drive in, and be done. You don't have to bring your computer, your controller. You can just get things done when you play and be ready.
I like that a lot, honestly. I really hate having to carry my computer around places. Like when I go do my set, if I do my hip-hop set, I have to go take my computer. And it's always like, oh man, this is all my life's work on this thing. Like, if you get smashed here, you're fucked.
So like I used to be, it's funny, my friends will laugh at this. I used to be really against CDJs. I was like, oh, that's what everybody's using. I don't want to be the guy using what everybody's using. And I was really against it. And then after a while, just starting to use what people were using. It's the industry standard, and it's a lot easier. It's something to get familiar with. It's something to learn. So now that I'm not carrying my book bag around and I'm not worrying about my laptop in the green room or anything, it's a lot less stress throughout the night, to be honest.
There you fucking go. So sometimes joining the crowd is not a bad thing.
Not at all. Not at all.
How long does it take you typically to make one track?
I mean, it can take like the basis of a track usually starts out between 4 hours, and then the basis can go on. I have tracks that I've put 20 hours in. I have tracks that I've put 40 hours in, and then I have tracks that I've put over 100 hours in, and I've just drawn them out to the point where it was absolutely too much work in the project. But I mean, it's all about who's doing the project. It's all about who's using their workflow in their way and all of that stuff. But I really feel like I'm averaging probably about 55 hours in a track before release.
Holy fuck, man. If it takes me longer than an hour to write a song, I'm going to tell you what, that song's not getting written.
Damn.
I don't have the attention span to put 55 hours into anything.
And it gets
That's
broken
insane,
down.
bro. That's
it gets
nuts.
broken down. I'll have like a lot of project files that I can bounce off to if I'm working on or whatever. If I feel like I'm uninspired, I can go and work something else, or I can take a break for a couple days and come back to it, refresh my brain.
Who are some of your favorite EDM artists?
I really like there's a label called Deep, Dark, and Dangerous, and I really like all of the stuff that they're putting out. It is ran by Truth, two guys out of Christchurch, New Zealand. I really like the Whittler. He also spins predominantly deep dubstep. As far as experimental bass goes, I like E-Prom. G Jones is a huge inspiration of mine. Bleep Bloop. There's an artist from Ohio that goes by the name Yeti. He spins experimental music as well. I really like a lot of the underground music.
Underground is always better than mainstream.
Yeah, I agree.
In my opinion, once you get over to the mainstream, it starts to be controlled by labels and rich people, and they just really foul up the artistry there. So the underground's probably the way to go, I'm assuming.
Not
like
only
I said,
that,
today I'm learning, you know, so.
Not only that, but with the underground, you're playing a bunch of stuff that nobody has ever heard before, and it always sounds fresh. That's what I really like taking pride in doing, is I really try and find a lot of music that people haven't heard before, so that they can express themselves however they feel, give them something new to listen to.
Always love new tracks.
Yeah.
I get so excited when I find something new that I like. I'm always looking for new music.
And you want to show it to people.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck
That's
yeah.
the
You can't
joy.
just keep it to yourself.
Yeah, that's the joy. There's no fun in showing somebody a track that everybody's heard before.
Especially because then they're like, they pull that like hipster move. They're like, oh, I've been listening to that dude since, you know.
Exactly, yeah. I
So-
don't like that vibe at all. That's not my
No,
flavor. Not my
not
flavor.
at all. What are some of your favorite artists outside of EDM?
Outside of EDM, you can catch me listening to A Tribe Called Quest probably 5 out of 7 days of the week.
That's a great name drop. That's one of my personal favorite
Yeah.
hip hop groups of all time.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean, Midnight Marauders, I probably listen to that album 3-4 times a week. I really, really like 90s hip hop. I listen to a lot of Gangstar, a lot of Nas. Illmatic is... in my
DJ
opinion-
Premier is my favorite fucking producer of all time, bro.
Absolutely, dude, that boy is the truth. But Illmatic, I think, is the best hip hop album of all time. I really like Frank Sinatra, Frankie Valli, you know, all the Rat Pack guys. I'm all over the place. I'll get into some heavy metal if I'm feeling it. I really like Amir, like The Devil Wears Prada, some of the stuff that I was listening to when I was younger. I feel like that music really bleeds into the stuff I'm producing now, as far as like the drum and how heavy all of the atmospheric sounds sit into the pictures. I really feel like the metal influence from my childhood definitely helped with that.
So you're taking influence from all kinds.
Yeah,
So it's,
absolutely.
You don't just get influenced by other electronic artists.
No, absolutely not.
Interesting. Yeah, we really are learning here today. Is it true that you've been abducted by aliens?
It is not true, but you know what? It was really good promotion, so you can't argue with that. Abducted by aliens, I mean, who doesn't want to hear about that?
If aliens wanted to abduct you and they gave you the choice, would you go with them?
Absolutely. Do you know how much good musical sounds they probably have to offer me? A bunch of stuff that nobody's ever heard before.
All right, I definitely don't want to get anything stuck in my ass, but I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't want to get probed,
No,
so
I
I'm
don't
not
wanna
going to
get-
take my chances.
I don't
But if
wanna
you're
get
willing to
probed.
do it, you do it for the both of us.
I
Scat.
mean, hey, if it's worth empowering bass music that much, then we'll do it.
What's the difference between an EDM producer and someone who produces hip hop tracks?
I mean, it's all about what's in their head. Personally, everything, all music. Like if a lot of people want to downplay electronic music production and they want to say that it doesn't take as much effort, or it's just a bunch of people pressing buttons on computers. And I mean, 9 times out of 10, that's what most hip hop artists are doing with their beats too. And that's coming from a spot. I love making hip hop beats. I'm probably, if I'm locked up in a project in my head, I'll go right to a hip hop project just so I can work on something like that. So I wouldn't say there's the real difference would be just the musical theory that they're using, because both of them are educated in music and both of them know what they need to do. And I'm sure both of them, if they really took the time to do it, both of them could produce each other's craft with enough time and enough ingenuity.
All right, I understand completely. It does seem like there are, you touched on it briefly there. It seems like there are definitely some common misconceptions about people who create electronic
Absolutely.
music. One, like you brought up 2 of them out of the 3 that I had written down here, which was you were saying that, they're just pressing buttons, or it's not that hard. How do you dispel those myths? What do you say to those people that say that it's not hard to do it and you're just pressing buttons on stage?
Google it. That's all you know what I'm saying though? Like it's just as difficult as anything else that anybody wants to put their time into to do it right. I mean, there are people producing electronic music and they're just going and grabbing samples off the internet and they're slapping them together, but there are actually people out there making genuine sounds 100% themselves, coming from all different backgrounds, all over the place, from all different music. I can't tell you how many artists I know that have came from a rock band, or they were a drummer somewhere. They did marching band in high school. Like all these different musical backgrounds. 8 out of 10 people that are in the electronic music game have some sort of idea of musical theory and how music is produced. So
do you have a similar background? Is there something that you were doing before?
No,
no. So it started with the beats.
It started with the beats.
Okay.
So I'm lucky enough. My father bought me a guitar when I was a young kid, and he like had me get lessons or whatever, and I just couldn't do it, and I just got really, really frustrated. And then I picked up a computer, and I was like, I could do this. Like this is something that I genuinely understand. So
Guitar's fucking hard.
Oh yeah, I've tried my way around a few instruments. Like I have a lot of friends who are drummers. I have a lot of friends who are guitar players. I have a lot of friends who are rappers or something like that. You know, like I've tried my hands in other things, but there was nothing that was
didn't
successful.
stick.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't stick.
Where can people find your tunes if they want to hear Scat? Where do they go?
SoundCloud. 9 out of my 10 tunes will be on SoundCloud. Some of the labels that I've released with will have my music on Spotify. You can check out Funkadelphia or Aspire Higher on Spotify, and both of my EPs will be on there.
Okay, cool, very cool. Make sure you guys go check out Scat. This guy definitely knows what the fuck he's doing. He's laying down some killer tracks. I listened to him myself. I was extremely impressed. There's a reason why he's on this show.
My Goon.
I listened to your track called A Bronx Tale.
Yeah.
I fucking love that movie.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Dude,
do you love that movie?
Yeah. So the Good Morning EP, I have about 4 songs that sample that movie. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's not just okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I love gangster movies. I love movies in general. So as soon as I saw you had a track called A Bronx Tale, I was like, oh, that's definitely my guy. I picked the right one there.
Yeah. I love using samples from like The Godfather or Goodfellas, Scarface, The Sopranos, all that stuff.
Oh, fuck yeah. All good name drops on this show. What does the term subjective reality mean?
Subjective reality. To me, subjective reality would be the reality that you make for yourself, the reality that you can do what you want to do with your own mind, with your own brain function, and make it something almost like manifesting, something that you can manifest into a truth. That's what I would consider subjective reality. And
you make your own luck.
Exactly. You can determine what's fake and what's real, man. That's what subjective reality really is. You can determine that. Everybody has the power.
I got the power!
Exactly, you know it.
I had to do it. I can't sing. I tried. What would you consider to be a perfect day in the life of Scat?
A perfect day in the life of Scat. Wake up, have a steak and a glass of whiskey for breakfast, go to the park, kick it with some homies, maybe blaze a little bit, and then go home, produce some dubstep, and then maybe spin some dubstep. That sounds like a great day. All with my gang, though. Honestly, everything is better with my friends.
Always better with
Always
the homies.
better.
How often do you start your day with a steak and a glass of whiskey?
Not as often as I'd like to, Paul. Not as often as I'd like to. Maybe once a month.
That's some fancy shit right there.
Yeah.
I can't say I've ever started my day with steak and
Maybe
whiskey.
once a month.
I'm going to have to take your advice on this one. I'm going to try it.
I'll take you up on it. Hit me up next Sunday morning, steak and whiskey.
All right, guys. Hey, we might have Scat on here twice. Steak and whiskey with Scat. Look out for the side feature.
Right.
What do you think about DJs who, like, they do mixes and they don't produce their own tracks?
I think that there is nothing wrong with that at all. I think a lot of people are catching a lot of heat in the industry because people say that they don't produce their own tracks or they don't do this, they don't do that. Most of the people that I know in the industry aren't producing their own music. They are a lot of the DJs, and that's not to say that I don't know a plethora of producers that are doing their own thing, but there's nothing to downplay with somebody who's just a talented DJ who just wants to spin somebody else's music at all.
And at that point, that's when you are just pretty much
A DJ.
a DJ, disc jockey.
Yeah, you're a disc jockey.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. I know so many people who are so talented that just spin music.
They keep the party live.
Exactly.
Right? That's
and
what a DJ's there for.
Yeah, and they're way more talented than me as a DJ, and they don't have their own production, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Okay, so there's their own time and place for that. That's just kind of like a separate thing I see.
For sure.
Okay.
You got to read the room too. If I'm in a room that I feel like whether they want to hear what they want to hear or not, if I feel like they don't want to hear my original music, I'm not going to play my original music. I'm going to try and read the room and see what they want to hear.
Oh, I completely understand. There's definitely been times when there's definitely those times when you could tell who's vibing, who's not. You tweak a little bit, then everyone's
time and
vibing.
place, exactly.
Oh, absolutely. Do you still ride BMX?
I do.
Yeah?
I do. I just bought a BMX bike a couple months ago, yeah.
What kind of bike do you ride?
I got a Miraco. After Dave passed, I had to get a Miraco.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I kind of figured it was a Dave Mira. All right, I didn't want to jump on that, though, because I wasn't sure.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, man, rest in peace, Dave
Absolutely.
Mira.
That's
True,
the hero.
oh, true fucking legend.
Yeah.
I grew up playing Dave Mira
That
on
was
GameCube,
so.
bro.
So that soundtrack, that's what really influenced
The
me as a
soundtrack
kid.
on them games?
GameStar, A Tribe Called Quest, Sublime. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Those are really the games that set the path for my musical taste in the future. Absolutely.
Same here. Like
Tony Hawk,
Yep. Yeah, bro.
Dude, all day, yeah. Like there was the Lamb of God in there, and all. That was one of the first albums I bought. I heard Black Label in a Tony Hawk game, and I was like, I need a Lamb of God album. I was like 8 years old, going to Walmart, like, I want this.
Dude, I'll tell you what. One of my favorite MCs of all time is Aesop Rock. I don't know if you're familiar or not.
I can't say I am.
And how I even got into Aesop Rock was like, man, I remember those Tony Hawk games having really good music. Looking up the soundtracks, I believe it was Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4, the song Labor Days by Aesop Rock. And if you heard it, you'd be like, oh my god, Tony Hawk!
It,
You know, yeah. And he's one of my favorite MCs of all fucking time. And I discovered him from Tony Hawk, man.
Absolutely.
Shout out to Tony Hawk for making the best skateboard games ever. With the best soundtracks ever. And he's still ripping. I don't know if you've ever seen some of the videos. That dude can fucking skate just as good now as 20 years ago.
Absolutely.
It's insane. I got one more question for you. What is the craziest shit you have ever seen at an EDM show?
Oh man, this is a good story too. Okay, so we were playing. I don't even know if I should tell this, but I'm going to.
Yeah, you should. This is the show where you tell those stories.
Alright, so we were playing at a guy's either birthday party, going away party, bachelor party, something, and it was in this guy's garage. And there were strippers in this garage, and they were doing a bunch of wacky shit to each other. And they were Youngstown strippers. They were not classy. They were not,
Youngstown.
They were not Pittsburgh or Cleveland or Columbus or any of those big cities that you were used to. So these strippers are going at it in the middle of the floor.
When you say going at it, be a little bit more specific.
They are literally having sex with each other on the floor.
Nice.
And
was that floor dirty?
Yeah, it was a dirty, disgusting garage.
Ooh.
And so these two guys think that it is a good idea to start boxing for some reason, like 4 or 5 feet away from the DJ booth. And a good friend of mine is playing some really heavy dubstep music. And these guys start boxing, and this guy gets knocked. There's a big guy like you and a small guy like me, and the small guy like me is getting whooped on. He is getting bashed. I mean, I watched this guy hit the ground like 3 times, and I picked him up and I said, "Yo, buddy," I said, "please," I said, don't get up. Like, take your gloves off. Everything will be fine. Like, you don't have to get up and fight this big guy." And this drunk asshole mushes me, swipes my face, and is like, "I'm going back at it." I was like, "All right, like, you mushed me, you can go back at it."
I'm not saving you now.
Yeah. So this guy squares right back up, and right when he put his hands up, he got hit with a right cross, and I watched his bottom jaw move and his front teeth stay in place, and I watched his head hit the floor before his legs did, and he split open. There's strippers over there banging each other. The homeowner looks at me and is like, "What do I do?" I'm like, "Get this guy some fucking ice and get him out of your house." So that's probably the craziest thing I've ever seen at an electronic music event. It was hype though, I tell you what.
No, that sounds like a pretty dope fucking party. Definitely some sketchiness, but something I wish I could have been a part of.
Yeah, it was fun.
Next time you have Youngstown strippers and boxing matches, make sure you hit me up.
That was a one-time only thing.
Never gonna happen again.
Never again.
That's probably the best story that I have ever heard on this show.
Really?
I gotta be honest. I think your interview number 45 or 44.
Damn, and that's the craziest one?
That's the best story.
Strippers and knockouts, dude. Strippers, knockouts, and dubstep. Yeah.
They go together. That's a perfect trifecta right there.
The triangle.
Alright, everybody. I'm Paul Goon. He's Scat. And you just got hit with 13 minutes of electronic dance music.
Thank you.